In November 2025, somewhere in Europe, an incident occurred that would have been almost impossible to predict. A man, casually driving his brand new Polestar 4, headed to a garden center to pick up a few items. Among those items was a 5-liter jug of industrial-strength white vinegar containing a potent 18% concentration. Little did he know, this simple purchase would lead to a chain of events that would completely destroy his $100,000 vehicle. On the drive home, the container began to leak, silently spilling the highly concentrated acid into the trunk of the car. The man, unaware of the damage, cleaned up what he could see. But by the time he finished, the vinegar had already seeped deeper below the trunk floor into the car's internal systems. Within a matter of 48 hours, the acid had wreaked havoc on the car's wiring, corroding circuit boards and working its way forward, attacking the electronic control modules and even the brake system components. As the man continued driving, the unthinkable happened. His brakes failed entirely. In a split-second decision, he managed to stop the 2-ton electric SUV by hitting the park button on the steering wheel at a traffic light. When the car was inspected, the repair estimate came back at over $29 dollars. The vehicle, effectively destroyed by something as seemingly harmless as a leaking bottle of vinegar, was no longer functional. Now, here's where this story takes a fascinating turn. The very same substance that destroyed this luxury car, when diluted to just 5% concentration, is one of the most powerful and affordable odor eliminators known to science. Vinegar, a common household product, has been used for over 5,000 years, first by the Babylonians, to preserve food, sanitize homes, and even protect human health. It's an incredible substance, yet here we have a case where it proved to be destructive, highlighting just how tricky it can be to understand the full scope of its potential. How did this simple solution, which costs just a couple of dollars, turn into such a disaster? What is the science behind it? And why do we rarely hear about vinegar in the automotive industry, especially in a context like this? To answer these questions, we must dive into the fascinating survival chemistry of vinegar. We need to understand how something as cheap and effective as vinegar can remain virtually invisible in a market that's dominated by expensive, branded solutions. It's time to uncover the economics behind this hidden gem and explore the fine line that separates a miracle product from a catastrophic accident. Let's start by understanding the materials inside modern cars and why they are so good at trapping bad smells, no matter how hard we try to eliminate them. The story begins in the late 20th century. In the 1970s and 1980s, a revolution in car interior materials took place. Before this era, car interiors were mostly made from natural fibers: wool carpets, cotton headliners, and natural rubber floor mats. These materials had a remarkable quality from a cleaning perspective. Odors would sit on the surface of these fibers. They didn't penetrate deeply into the material, which meant that a simple wash or a mild acid rinse could easily eliminate any unwanted smells. But as automakers sought to make cars lighter, more durable, and safer, they switched to synthetic polymers. These new materials, such as nylon carpeting, polyester seat fabrics, and PVC door panels, were cheaper to produce, more resistant to wear, and met newly introduced fire safety regulations. From an engineering standpoint, it was a smart move. However, this shift to synthetic materials introduced an unexpected problem. Unlike natural fibers, synthetic polymers have microscopic internal voids and channel structures. When volatile organic compounds, essentially the molecules that carry odors, come into contact with synthetic fabrics, they don't just sit on the surface. Instead, they seep deep into these internal structures and get physically trapped. This is why, no matter how much you scrub or clean your car, the smells often linger, only to return after a few days or weeks. When the interior of the car heats up under the sun, the synthetic polymers expand just enough to release those trapped odor molecules back into the air, creating what is known as odor rebound. Interestingly, this issue has created an entire industry, the global car air freshener market, which is now valued at approximately $2.5 billion and growing by around 4% annually. When you walk into any auto parts store, you're likely to see entire aisles stocked with air fresheners in the form of brightly colored bottles, hanging trees, vent clips, and aerosol cans, all promising to eliminate odors. But what most of these products actually do is mask the odor with heavy fragrance compounds. They create the illusion of freshness, but they do nothing to eliminate the source of the smell. Once the fragrance fades, the original odor returns, and you're back at the store for another bottle. Is this a deliberate conspiracy designed to keep consumers in the dark? Not quite. The truth is more intriguing and far more practical. The reason that simple, permanent solutions like vinegar remain invisible to the general public is because they are economically unappealing to large corporations. White distilled vinegar, as effective as it is a generic commodity product. No one holds a patent on it, and it cannot generate the kind of profits that would justify a multi-million-dollar advertising campaign. There's no brand loyalty to be built, no exclusive rights to be sold, and no recurring revenue to gain from it. Because of this, it's simply not in the interest of any corporation to promote vinegar as a solution. If consumers were to discover that a $2 bottle of vinegar could do what expensive, heavily marketed air fresheners cannot, the entire industry would be at risk. So instead of marketing vinegar as a practical solution, companies keep it hidden behind the allure of more expensive, less effective products. This is not just the case in car care. It extends to health, home maintenance, and agriculture as well. How many other incredibly effective generic solutions are out there, buried beneath layers of marketing and consumer trends? The answer is a lot. The reality behind why such effective solutions like vinegar remain largely invisible to most people lies in economics. The reason is simple. There's no money in promoting these kinds of products. Vinegar, as a widely accessible and low-cost commodity, offers no potential for corporate profit margins. Without patents, no exclusive rights to sell, or a marketing budget, large companies have no incentive to push vinegar as a solution. Instead, they focus on products that require repeated purchases, which generate more revenue. The cycle of repeat purchases is what the market rewards, punishing those one-time fixes that can solve the problem permanently. Once you fully understand this incentive structure, it completely changes the way you view the product aisles. You start asking more intelligent questions about what's really being offered and why. Now, let's take a closer look at what white distilled vinegar actually is and why it works so well. Essentially, vinegar is just a 5% solution of acetic acid mixed with water. That's it. The ancient Babylonians, as far back as 5000 BC, were producing vinegar commercially by fermenting dates, figs, and beer. It was used for a variety of purposes, preserving food, as a condiment, and even as a medicinal remedy. Hippocrates, the famous Greek physician, used vinegar for wound care. Roman soldiers drank a diluted version called Posca during their military campaigns across Europe. During the Great Plague epidemics in Europe, vinegar became a key disinfectant. Historical accounts tell of groups surviving plague exposure by washing in vinegar-based solutions, proving that it was more than just folk wisdom. Acetic acid, the key ingredient in vinegar, is a legitimate antimicrobial agent and chemical neutralizer that has been scientifically validated countless times. What makes vinegar particularly effective against odors, especially in cars, is its ability to break down the chemicals that carry those odors. These odor molecules can usually be classified into a few categories: alkaline compounds, which come from pet waste, urine, and mildew; acidic compounds, which stem from smoke and food decomposition; and complex organic volatiles, which are released from body oils and the off-gassing of plastics. When you apply a 5% acetic acid solution to synthetic fabrics commonly found in car interiors, the vinegar molecules are small enough to penetrate into the tiny voids within the polymers that make up the fabric. Once inside, the acetic acid reacts with the alkaline odor molecules through a neutralization process. This turns them into neutral, non-volatile salts that have no odor. The vinegar also breaks down many of the organic volatiles, disrupting the compounds that carry unpleasant smells. Unlike air fresheners that mask odors temporarily, this is a true chemical reaction. The result is permanent. Those altered compounds will never revert back to their original, smelly forms, no matter the heat or humidity. Real-world tests and the experience of professional cleaners confirm that a 5% vinegar solution can eliminate a wide range of common car odors. Whether it's stale cigarette smoke, pet smells, food spills, or mildew, most of these odors can be eliminated on the first application. However, for heavy cigarette smoke that has saturated the interior over months or even years, a second application may be required after 24 hours to fully reach the deeper layers of foam padding. And all of this can be done with a simple $2 bottle of vinegar sitting in your kitchen cabinet. Here's exactly how to do it. Step 1. Head to any grocery store and grab a jug of plain white distilled vinegar. Make sure to check the label to confirm it has 5% acidity. This is critical. Do not use apple cider, vinegar, balsamic vinegar, or any flavored variety, as they contain sugars and colored compounds that could stain lighter fabrics and even attract insects. Step 2. Remove all floor mats from the car and place them outside on a flat surface. Open every door of the vehicle to ensure maximum airflow. Ventilation is key for both drying speed and your own comfort while working. Step 3. Pour the undiluted white vinegar into a clean spray bottle. Do not dilute it with water. You need the full 5% concentration to penetrate the synthetic fibers and reach the trapped odor molecules. Step 4. Spray the vinegar evenly across all fabric surfaces inside the cabin. This includes cloth seats, floor carpeting, fabric inserts on the door panels, headliner if it's fabric, and the trunk carpet. The goal is for each surface to be visibly damp but not soaked. Think of it like morning dew, not a downpour. Step 5. This is the most important step. Do nothing. Do not wipe off the vinegar. Let it be. The liquid needs time to seep deep into the polymer structure and chemically react with the trapped odor molecules. This process takes between 30 to 60 minutes. Step 6. After the vinegar has had time to work, let everything air dry with the doors open. In warm, dry weather, this typically takes 2 to 3 hours. In more humid conditions, it could take 4 to 6 hours. Alternatively, you can speed things up with a portable fan directed into the cabin. Yes, your car will smell like a salad for a while, but as the vinegar evaporates, its smell will completely disappear, leaving behind neutral, clean air with no lingering fragrance or chemical residue. For the floor mats you placed outside, apply the same spray. Let them sit for 60 minutes. Then allow them to dry in the sun before putting them back inside the car. That's it. Total cost, roughly $2. Total active time, about 5 minutes of spraying. Total waiting time, 2 to 6 hours of doing nothing while the chemistry works its magic. Now, let's return to our unfortunate Polestar owner, and here's where the story takes a critical turn. The same acetic acid that cleaned your car for $2 is also the reason his car was destroyed and required $29,000 in repairs. The difference? Concentration. His vinegar was 18% acetic acid, nearly 4 times stronger than the household vinegar we just used. At that concentration, acetic acid is highly corrosive to metals, wiring insulation, circuit boards, and rubber compounds. In an electric vehicle, the area beneath the cargo floor is packed with sensitive electronics, high voltage wiring, and brake system components. These are all routed through channels designed to be protected from water, but not from concentrated acid. This is the distinction between useful knowledge and dangerous knowledge. It's a key lesson that applies to much more than car cleaning. So let me be clear about what you should never do with vinegar in your car. Never spray vinegar on or near your vehicle's touchscreen, infotainment display, or any electronic buttons. Acetic acid will degrade the anti-glare and oleophobic coatings, leaving your screen permanently cloudy. Also, never use vinegar on leather seats. The acid can damage the material. Leather, as we know it, is simply processed animal skin, which relies on essential oils to maintain its flexibility and softness. Vinegar, however, strips these natural oils away, leading to the leather drying out, becoming stiff, and eventually cracking with time. For leather care, you should always opt for a specialized pH-balanced cleaner. And after cleaning, remember to apply a leather conditioner to restore its moisture and suppleness. Similarly, you should never apply vinegar to the rubber seals around your car's doors and windows. Over time, exposure to acids can degrade the rubber, causing it to lose its flexibility, crack, and eventually fail to keep moisture out. This can lead to more significant issues with water ingress and leaks. And let's make one thing clear. Never use industrial-grade vinegar, anything above a 5% concentration, anywhere near your vehicle. Store it in separate, tightly sealed containers, and treat it with the same caution you would give to any other hazardous chemical. While a 5% vinegar solution is a precise tool for cleaning synthetic fabrics, an 18% concentration near sensitive electronics is nothing short of a financial disaster. The molecule may be the same, but the difference lies in how it is applied, and knowing the distinction between a helpful solution and a dangerous one. There's another important aspect to consider when dealing with solutions like vinegar. True expertise isn't just about knowing what works, it's about understanding where that solution ends and where another one needs to begin. Vinegar, as we've seen, works wonders as a surface-level neutralizer for odors. It is highly effective at eliminating what I call fixed event odors, those smells caused by past incidents that have long since stopped. Whether it's the scent of a previous owner's cigarettes, last month's coffee spill, or pet odor from a dog that spent the summer riding in your car, vinegar can solve these problems quite effectively. However, vinegar cannot address the source of an ongoing issue. For instance, if your car smells like a damp basement, the likely cause is a leaking sunroof seal or a clogged AC condensate drain. The moisture from these sources soaks into the thick foam padding beneath your carpets. In this case, while vinegar may neutralize the odor temporarily, it doesn't solve the root cause. The mildew will likely regrow within days because the foam padding is still saturated with water. You've only treated the symptom, not the underlying issue. Similarly, heavy biological contamination, such as pet urine or vomit, can penetrate deeply into seat foam, far beyond the reach of a simple spray bottle. In such cases, professional extraction services are necessary. This is where the $200 to $400 spent on a professional detailing service is well worth it. The professionals bring tools that a DIY cleaner simply can't replicate. They have access to hot water extraction machines, which blast heated water at high pressure to physically pull congealed biological matter out of deep foam. They also use bioenzymatic cleaners, which contain living enzymes that break down proteins, fats, and organic waste until nothing remains. Additionally, gaseous oxidation treatments, like ozone or chlorine dioxide, are used. These toxic gases are pumped into a sealed car, reaching areas that no liquid can access, such as air conditioning ducts, the headliner, or under the dashboard. Ozone, in particular, is a triatomic oxygen molecule that attacks carbon bonds at the molecular level, effectively destroying smoke and mold compounds in areas that are impossible to reach otherwise. Chlorine dioxide is even smaller and can penetrate the deepest pores of any material in the vehicle. These treatments are highly effective, but they are also dangerous. Breathing in ozone can cause permanent lung damage, which is why professionals charge what they do, and why, in severe cases, they're absolutely worth the cost. The smart approach is to understand when and where each tool should be used. For everyday odors trapped in synthetic car fabrics, vinegar is your go-to weapon. If you're dealing with structural moisture problems, focus on finding and fixing the leak first. For heavy biological contamination, always call in the professionals. Knowing exactly which situation you're facing is the real skill in this scenario. The takeaway from today's discussion is more than just a car cleaning hack. It's about understanding how knowledge compounds. We live in a world surrounded by synthetic materials, our clothing, furniture, cars, and even the buildings we live in. These materials offer convenience and durability, but they also come with invisible issues, such as microscopic voids that trap odors and toxins, problems that our grandparents never had to worry about. At the same time, the market rewards products that generate repeat purchases rather than permanent solutions. As a result, simple and effective remedies, like a 5% acetic acid solution, quietly fade from our collective knowledge. This isn't because they've been suppressed, but simply because no one profits from promoting them. What you've gained today isn't just a car cleaning trick, it's a mental model. The next time you face a recurring household issue, ask yourself, is there a simple, generic solution that no one talks about because there's no money in it? More often than you might think, the answer is yes. But equally important, you've learned to recognize the limits of these solutions. The story of the Polestar owner serves as a vivid reminder that chemistry is a precise science. The same molecule that cleans your car can also corrode your brake lines. The difference between a miracle and a disaster often comes down to concentration, application, and respect for the substance you are working with. Balancing this knowledge, understanding what works, and knowing exactly where it stops working is at the heart of the survival wisdom we explore here. It's not about hacks or shortcuts. It's about understanding the world well enough to make better decisions in every area of life. So, the next time you get into your car and catch a whiff of a lingering, stale smell, don't reach for the air fresheners. Instead, reach into your kitchen cabinet. Use the same molecule that Babylonian merchants used to preserve food 0 years ago. Approach it with precision, understanding both its power and its boundaries, and take control of your environment for just a couple of dollars.